Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Continuing with the Masaa'il of Zakat. If a person owns wealth that is contaminated with halal and haram income, then the haram income should be subtracted. If the halal income is equivalent to the nisab, then zakat is payable on the halal income. If the remaining halal funds are not equivalent to nisab, then zakat is not fard. So sometimes it happens, a person, he had taken out a policy, pension fund, for provident fund, but it was done voluntarily. There's always a difference, remember this. Anything that is involuntary, meaning it's enforced by your employer, and the employer doesn't give you a choice in the matter, they just subtract a certain amount every month from your salary and they contribute towards a pension fund or provident fund, whatever it might be. The payment that is received later on, normally it matures when you're about 55, 60 years old. So the money that you get at that time, that is all permissible to use because you didn't have a choice in the matter. So the employer, they just subtracted the money without your consent, whether you're happy or you're not happy, and they contributed towards the fund. And in the end, when there was a lump sum payout, or they pay out now 1/3 and 2/3 go back into investment. So that can be utilized. You can even stipulate who the beneficiary is. It doesn't form part of a person's estate also. So if you stipulate like the wife is a beneficiary, all the funds will go to the wife, she can use the money. So that is permissible. The second one is involuntary, where from your side, you want to subscribe to a pension fund, provident fund, from your side, you go and subscribe. That is haram. Because if you're putting in, for example, in 1 year, if you're putting in 1,000 rand a month, in 1 year you got 12,000 rand. Over 5 years, you got 60,000 rand. Let's say a person passes away after 5 years. When they pay out, they're not going to pay you 60,000. When they pay, they might pay you 200,000, maybe 300,000. So over the 60,000, the 240,000 extra, if they pay 300,000, 240,000 extra, why are they giving you the 240,000? That is riba. That is interest. To give something without something in exchange from the other party, that is what you call riba. So that is impermissible. So let's say, for example, now a person, he passed away and he just left behind one son, and he had a voluntary pension fund. So he contributed 60, he got paid out 300,000. So the 240 is riba. That 240, he has to give it out to the poor without niyat of reward also. He has to just distribute it, give it out to the poor, people that are eligible for zakat. Or he can also give it to poor non-Muslims. Right? But there is no thawab in this because that was haram money. You had to dispose of it. And the 60,000 that he got of that fund, that is what his father contributed. So that is halal funds. There's no problem with that. So on the 60,000, he will have to pay zakat. And the 240, there's no zakat on that because that he has to distribute. You understood the point? So that is what he's referring to. If a person owns wealth that is contaminated with halal and haram. See, there's two here. The 240 is haram and the 60 is halal. So the money is contaminated. Then the haram income should be subtracted. The 240, take it out one side. If the halal income is equivalent to the nisab, in our instance it's 60,000, it is equivalent to nisab, then zakat is payable on the halal income. If the remaining halal funds are not equivalent to nisab, then zakat is not fard. So let's assume the money that was halal was maybe 5,000 rand. His father only contributed 5,000 and he passed away. So that is now, that's the only money that this boy has got. He doesn't have any other money. Then there's no zakat on the 5,000 because it's below the nisab bracket. Number two, zakat will be paid on money saved in order to perform hajj. Many people ask this question. They say, we're saving for hajj. We want to go for hajj. Now, their zakat time came in. So do we have to pay zakat on that? They think because they're going for hajj, they don't have to pay zakat on that funds. No, that fund, those funds, that's your saving money. So even on that fund, although you're going to use it for a good cause, you will still have to pay zakat on those funds as well. Number three, if any income is derived by rental of properties or hiring of crockery, motor cars, vans, trucks, etc., then it will only be zakatable if the income is in one's possession at the time of calculating zakat. We did this before also. That only the income is zakatable, and that too if it's available at the time when you are calculating, when you are calculating your zakat. In the above scenario, if the income derived was spent before calculating one's yearly zakat, then such income will be exempted. So before your zakat date, let's say you bought a house, and all the money that you had, all your income, you put it into the house, in the purchase. So when your zakat date came, you didn't have any money from that income that you derived. So no zakat on that, there's no problem. Types of wealth on which zakat is not fard. Any metal besides gold and silver. So for example, a person, he's got some chain or something of that sort that's made of metal. It's not gold, it's not silver. Obviously, men shouldn't wear these type of things. I just took an example of a chain. Person has got a chain. So in that instance, there is no zakat on a chain. For a woman, her ring that she wears, the ring can only be pure gold or pure silver. She can't wear rings that is made of any other metal, only gold and silver. And other parts, like for example, if she's got a bangle or she's got a chain or necklace or something of that sort, if it's made from another metal, then it is permissible. But the ring must be gold and silver. And for a man, he shouldn't even wear a ring. But if a person wants to wear a ring, then it must be only silver, and it shouldn't weigh more than 4.374 grams. More than 4.374 grams, that's the maximum weight that a man can utilize in a ring. Number 2, fixture and fittings of a shop, as well as vehicles which are used in running a business. We said this yesterday also. Fixture and fittings, no zakat. The vehicles that are used to run the business, no zakat. Number 3, imitation jewelry, as well as diamonds. See, diamond is very valuable, the price. But in terms of Sharia, it doesn't hold value. So there's no zakat on it. Emeralds, if you go to Saudi and you tell them you want to trade in the ring, you want a new ring, and you're giving in your old ring, or you want some new jewelry and you give them the old jewelry. If the ring has a diamond in it, they don't even give you any money for it. It holds no value to them. So imitation jewelry as well as diamonds, emeralds, rubies, pearls, and other precious or semi-precious stones, including stones that are attached to gold rings which are for personal use. See, there's no zakat on all these. But if they are for resale, if any person is buying diamonds or rubies, any of these items for resale, then there will be zakat on it. Tanzanite is a big thing, especially in places like Tanzania, etc. People come there and they buy Tanzanite, people from throughout the world. So if it's for trade, then obviously you will have to pay zakat on it. Number 4, living quarters, household furniture, crockery, personal clothing, whether these are utilized or not, there is no zakat. However, Islam abhors waste. That a person, he's got, Allah Ta'ala has given him. Some people, they have the habit that they must go shopping. And that is the whole idea of these people that have designed these malls, etc. That you come to the mall, you spend maximum time. Many things that we don't need, we just go there. Now because we're loitering around, we're walking up and down, spending time. That's not a place to spend our time. Now we're walking up and down and spending time in the mall. So now we say, let's go see what this shop got. Let's go see what that shop got. And how many things we buy, we don't even need. Many times we buy things from the flea market. We bring it to our house. We don't need it in the house. But we bring it and we put it there. Mullah Umar Sahib Palanpuri Rahmatullah, one person came to him and he told Umar Sahib Palanpuri Rahmatullah, Hazrat, I want to go in Jamaat, but I don't have the means to go in Jamaat. So Mullah Umar Sahib Palanpuri Rahmatullah told him, alright, let's do this. Let's see what you got in your cabinet. In your cabinet in the front room. You know, people have little ornaments and all. He said, let's sell that. And he says that I promise you, from the funds that you accrue from selling all those items, you'll have more than enough money to go out in the path of Allah Ta'ala. One person, Mufti Mahmud Sahib Rahmatullah, came to South Africa. Now those things are waste of time. Really, why do we buy these things and we put them in our front room? We can utilize that money in a better way. Come sit here, Abdullah. So, one person, Mufti Mahmud Sahib Rahmatullah, he went to his house. So Mufti Mahmud Sahib Rahmatullah found the big pot hanging in the lounge. So the Mufti Sahib asked him, he says, Iska kya maqsad hai? What's the objective? This pot here you got here? So he said, no, for decoration. For decoration in the lounge, people can see. He said, first time in my life, I heard that you buy pots for decoration. I thought pots were for cooking. So you see how much of money we waste. Clothing, ladies, the amount of clothes they have in their cupboard. And still they buy more abayas. And they buy more scarves. And how many poor people don't have clothes? So all this thing, this is wastage. Then we go to buy a tacky. So that you can get a nice tacky, 250, 300, and the child can wear the tacky nicely also, no problem with it. But today the children, they want the designer. and the tacky that's designer, almost the same, just because it's got a brand name. How much we'll pay? 1,000 rand for the tacky. Now this is not the way of a Muslim. A Muslim doesn't waste money like this. We are ummata wasata, and moderate ummah. In everything, in our expenditure, also, what our need is fulfill our needs, nicely fulfill our needs. But don't waste. A child wants a t-shirt. But a normal t-shirt you go to buy, a vest, 40, 50 rand. But because it's got that name, 300 rand. So we'll pay 300 rand because it's got that name. So how much of money we're wasting whilst people don't have food in their house? Allah Ta'ala give us the understanding of these things, where we can change, where we can rectify ourselves. That's what we are here for. That we can reach Allah Ta'ala and lead a life according to Sharia, how Sharia wants us to lead a life. Number 5, liabilities which equal or exceed one's assets. Liabilities meaning you owing money now. And on one side, you got assets. So now we need to weigh the two. What's the value of your assets? Zakatable assets we're talking about. And what's the value of your liabilities? So let's say, for example, a person, he bought a house. Now he bought the house for 2 million rands. Right? So that's a liability. Now he's owing 2 million rands. He doesn't have the money. Somebody borrowed him. We're not talking about the bank. Bank is haram. Obviously, if you want to find out more about that, then inshallah we can discuss. There are ways that it can be sorted out, but generally the bank is haram. So a person, he needs to buy a house. So let's assume a family member gave him a loan of 2 million rand. So he bought the house. So he's owing 2 million rand. His zakatable assets are maybe, let's say, 100,000 rand. So his liabilities are 1.9 million and his assets are only 100,000. So now would this person say, now I'm not going to pay zakat because my liabilities are 1.9 million. How many years of his life he won't be paying zakat because he's owing 1.9 million? So the ulama say no. If everybody, today almost everybody is in debt. People, how many Muslims are involved with the banks? Overdraft facilities, they with the banks. So when we involve with the banks, how many Muslim businessmen won't be paying zakat? The poor man is going to suffer. So the ulama have written that what you're going to pay towards that debt for 1 year, that is what we will take into consideration. Let's say towards that house, you are now paying that family member 5,000 rands a month. So in 1 year, you're going to pay 60,000 rand. So 60,000, if now you look at your asset, 100,000 you had, you minus 60,000, you're still left with 40,000. 40,000 is more than nisab, you pay zakat on 40,000. So some ulama are more strict. They say only for 1 month, only the month you're calculating zakat, that month you must deduct the installment. So only 5,000 you can deduct, because the month you're paying zakat, you're going to be paying 5,000. So deduct only 5,000 and you have 100, so 95 you must pay zakat. But we can act on this view, the 12-month view, that makes it very easy for everyone. So take the 12-month view, minus the 60, on the 40,000, we will then pay zakat. If anybody requires assistance, we can help them, inshallah. Number 6, haram wealth, usurped or stolen wealth or property. Person, happens sometimes that a person in his young days, he stole money and he's got that money. So that money, or he used the money, whatever it might be, that money is left to pay. Person is not going to get away. So we have to trace the owner, we have to look for the owner. And when we find the owner, give that money back to him. One lady in her young days, she used to steal from a shop. She was young that time, she was about 16 years old. Now they used to steal chocolates, in those days. And chocolates perhaps were not so expensive, 50 cents, 1 rand a chocolate. So they used to steal. Now after many years, Allah gave her the tawfiq. This is the great thing. Even if it's after many years, now she's asking that I stole for all these years from that shop. And when we're in school, now what do I do? So you have to go and look for the owner, give the money to the owner. Then she said, if I don't find the owner, that shop is closed down and I cannot trace the owner. So then you have to give the money to a poor person. You have to look for the heirs also. If the person has passed away, first you have to look for the heirs. If you know the heirs, then the money goes to them. If you can't trace or locate anyone, then as a final resort, give it in sadaqah to a poor person who's a recipient of zakat on behalf of that person, and that person will then get the reward of it. So that is the way a person has to deal with haram wealth. If the owner of the usurped wealth is unknown, then the wealth should be, if the owner of the usurped wealth is known, then the wealth should be returned to the owner. And if he is not known, nor is one able to locate him, then such wealth should be given in sadaqah without any intention for reward. You're not going to get any reward. You're giving it out on behalf of that particular person, so there's no reward for you, but you have got rid of it. And many a times, a person, he feels shy. Person feels shy that, oh, how am I going to go back to that person? And how am I going to inform him that I stole his money? No, if you know him, try and get his banking details. You don't have to go to him. Just put the money quietly into his account. Reference also you don't have to put. And the longest the money, however it gets to him, it needs to get to him. Once he gets the money, you are freed from your responsibility. Interest fund accumulated in a banking account, it is wajib to dispose of it to a deserving person without any intention of reward, or it can be returned to the financial institute from where it was acquired. So, number one, it's not permissible to open a bank account. To open a bank account actually was not permissible for a Muslim. The only reason we are permitted to open a bank account is to protect our funds, because the danger of keeping cash funds in our home, we all are aware of it. So Shariat has given concession that you open a bank account. When you open a bank account, you should never have the niyat of accruing interest, that I'm opening it, so I'm going to get interest in my bank account, because interest is haram. So if you can open an account that is interest free, doesn't accumulate interest, like you get the debit card. On the debit card, you don't get interest there. So you open an account that is like a debit card. So you don't get any interest, you got no problem in your life. If a person opened a savings account, and that is now attracting interest, whether it is today, Allah save us, Muslim bank, not Muslim bank, whatever, best is we give that money out in charity. So whatever interest comes in, we take it and we give it out. We distribute it to the poor, no intention of reward. So that's what he's saying, that it must be given out to the poor without any intention of reward. Now, so this is what I wanted to say, that sometimes, I think I mentioned this before also, sometimes what we do, we got the money in the account. Let's say, for example, that bank account, it attracted, for example, accrued maybe 100 Rand interest for the month. So now you think, now where am I going to go and withdraw the 100 Rand? I got 100 Rand cash here, let me just give this out for the 100 Rand interest that is in the account. That's not permissible. You have to withdraw 100 Rand from the account, and you have to give that 100 Rand out in charity, because that 100 Rand is haram, and the 100 Rand in your pocket is halal. So the halal can't be substitute for haram. You have to give the haram out, although it is mixed with your other funds in the bank, but still you take it out from there and then you dispose of it. Number 8, provident fund until the investment is fully paid out. This is the same, where it's an obligatory provident fund, no zakat on it. When the investment pays out, so let's say for example when you reach 60 and they paid out, now you got the money in your hand. And when your next zakat date comes in, then you take all the money that you've got, you take it into account and you pay 2.5% on that. And the last one, bad debts. If the creditor is unable to retrieve his debt and has lost hope of recovering the money, and I'd say somebody is owing you money, and that person sometimes even denies the debt. He says, no, I don't owe you the money, because you don't have anything in writing. That's why it's so important. All our transactions must be written. Quran also says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu idha tadayantum bidainin ila ajalin musamman faktubu. When you give a debt to somebody for a stipulated period of time, faktubu, write it down. And then all the details Allah Ta'ala has mentioned. What are the details? How it should be written? The witnesses that should be brought, everything. Islam is a complete way of life. So if a person loans somebody money and that person rejects it, you got nothing in writing. So in this instance also, there is no zakat on it, because that person is denying the debt. Or you gave somebody stock, and how many Muslim people have taken others for rides? Some companies actually had to close up. They closed, the entire business closed, because they gave account to customers never paid their money. So, if you have given people goods on account and people are not paying, now there's no hope of it. So when there's no hope that this person now is never going to pay, you write it off as a bad debt. So once you've written it off, then you don't have to pay zakat at all. Even for the past, from the time that you gave the person the goods or the debt, the loan, from that time you don't have to pay any zakat whatsoever, because this is written off as a bad debt. This is based on another masla, which is called mal-e-zimar. Mal-e-zimar is where a person, he went to the ocean and he threw his money into the ocean. Is there any hope of getting it back? No. Once your money is gone into the ocean, finished, it's gone. But let's say Allah Ta'ala's qudrat, Allah's power, Allah Ta'ala can do anything. After, for example, 1 week, person went back to the ocean, he was fishing or whatever, his money came up, he found the money there. right? Or let's say after 5 years, 1 week we're talking about zakat now. So let's say after 5 years he went one day and that same bag that he threw in, that bag surfaced. And he managed to get that money back. So now for the 5 years, do you have to pay the zakat now? No, you don't have to pay it. Because there was no hope of getting that money back when you threw it in the ocean. Exactly the same way. This person that's owing you money, he is not paying, you wrote him off, this is a bad debt, you wrote off the debt, there's no hope. After 10 years, one day Allah gave him tawfiq. He said, no, let me go pay that person. So he came, now he wants to pay you your money. And he paid you also. Now for the 10 years, do you have to pay zakat? No zakat. Now you only go forward from this point. So that's what he's saying. If a creditor has proved that the debtor owes him money, or the debtor confesses that he owes money, and the creditor is able to retrieve his money, then such a debt will not fall under the category of a bad debt. Right? Because here there is hope that you're still going to get your money back, so it's not a bad debt. And the last one, irremovable gold or silver limbs or fillings for nose, teeth, etc. This we had already done yesterday. Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq.
You spoke about the provident fund. Is that like the RA where people take for tax write-offs and stuff? Where they take a retirement annuity.
Right.
And
from the company?
Or no, separate.
Okay.
And then they use that, you get a tax benefit from that also.
Okay. So if you have that retirement annuity, then you reduce taxes you get, in other words.
And it also only retire, like when you're 55 or 60, that will now come.
That is also considered as an impermissible investment because they're giving you extra, isn't that so? They're investing your money. They're investing your money, yeah.
So even though the companies, a lot of our Muslim companies say, no, we invest in halal.
They're investing on the stock exchange also, isn't it?
I don't know what they do.
Yeah, if they invest generally on the stock exchange, right? It goes onto the stock exchange. So on the stock exchange, you can invest in halal avenues and in haram avenues. But the whole masla is our view. Other muftis hold a different view. Our view is you can't even invest on the stock exchange. So whatever extra you're getting from there, that won't be permissible for a person to utilize.
And you spoke about the charges in the bank. Now, so what about the charges the bank charges you?
Right. Now the bank charges, you must remember that is it is a ijara, what you call a hiring contract. You hired their services. So when you hire their services, they're entitled to take a fee from you. Right? So they stipulate for a withdrawal we're going to charge you so much, for a deposit we're going to charge you so much, depending on what you require. For holding the account with us, so much is account charges per month, like a credit card or whatever it might be. So they're entitled to charge. So because they're entitled to charge, and we have accepted by signing that document, whatever the rules and terms and conditions are, when once you sign it, it means I've accepted whatever is written here. So because you have accepted it, that means now you have to pay that amount. So you can't use the interest, because then you'll be benefiting from interest, which is haram. Okay.
That one thing we spoke about the 1 year. Maybe you can clarify this to us. That you said for 1 year you need to see.
Yeah, he hasn't explained after this. He just said it should be possessed by him for a complete lunar year. So, is there any note over here? No, nothing. Yeah, this is...
exactly what Ismail said yesterday, people...
Yeah, I think this thing needs to be maybe explained better. A lot of people got this misunderstanding.
It could also happen that a person, for example, he had nisab. Let's say, for example, you have nisab, right? So you have a stipulated zakat date. Yesterday we did the example, we used of 1st of Muharram. So you were the owner of nisab first time in your life, 1st of Muharram, and you maintained it for 1 year, and that became your zakat date. So every year now, on the 1st of Muharram, you calculate zakat. But let's say now, in this instance, like where we use the example of a person buying a house. So he went into debt for 1.9 million. So he doesn't own nisab anymore. So his zakat date also falls away. That 1st of Muharram is no more his zakat date, because he went into minus now. He's minus 1.9 million. Right? So when this debt is paid fully, when this debt 1.9 million is paid fully, whether it's after 5 years or 10 years, whatever time, now first time thereafter he gets the nisab, he has to write it again. And then 1 year passes on that, he maintains it for 1 year, that will become his new zakat date. So there is some details to it, depending on the situation of the person. But the ruling is once the zakat date is stipulated, then the 1 year falls away. There's no 1 year after that. We don't look at what happens during the course of the year. We look at on your zakat date at the end of the year, what is your financial position, and that is what is taken into consideration.
You don't need to maintain your, like for instance, a person that works, you get a salary, then you get your nisab amount, then you spend it.
Yeah, we don't worry about that because your zakat date is, we never go back to zero, as long as you never go back to zero. So let's say you got your salary, your savings you have, and let's say you came to 100 rand, but you never got to zero. So what happened during the year, we're not worried about that. We worried about your zakat date, what happens on your zakat date. Okay.
I think a lot of emphasis needs to be put on this. Maybe ulama needs to speak about this. Because maybe a lot of people are underpaying the zakat.
Yeah, inshallah, we'll explain it. Inshallah. In one of the Jumas, and we'll have to explain this, inshallah. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Continuing with how to perform salah. So we had gone up to the point of sajda, that how a female should perform salah and how a male should perform salah. Or sajda mein kam se kam 3 dafa subhana rabbiyal a'la kahe. When you're in sajda, 3 times you must say minimum subhana rabbiyal a'la. Phir Allahu Akbar kehti hui uthe. Then you say Allahu Akbar from sajda and you come up. Or khoob achhi tarah baith jawe. And a person should sit nicely. Many people, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. No, that's wrong. Because in every posture of salah, there must be ta'deel arkan. Ta'deel arkan means where every limb comes to a complete standstill. See, if I do this, my hand must come to a complete standstill. If I do this, it must come to a complete standstill. When it stopped, now I can go to the next posture. So when a person is coming up, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, there's no ta'deel arkan. And ta'deel arkan is wajib of salah. And where a wajib is omitted intentionally, the salah doesn't even take place. You have to repeat the namaz. And if it happens unintentionally, you have to make sajda sahu in the end. So at every posture, the body must come to a complete standstill, and then you go into the next posture. So that's what he's saying. Or achhi tarah baith jawe. Sit nicely when you came up from the sajda. Tab dusra sajda Allahu Akbar keh ke kare. Then you say Allahu Akbar and you do the second sajda. Or kam se kam 3 dafa subhan rabbiyal a'la kahe. And here also subhan rabbiyal a'la 3 times. 3 dafa subhan rabbiyal a'la keh ke Allahu Akbar kehti hui khari ho jawe. And then after the second sajda, you say Allahu Akbar and you come back to the standing position. Or zameen par haath tek karke na uche. When you're getting up from sajda, don't put your hand on the ground and take support and get up. With the person, his hand on his knees, Allahu Akbar, and he stands up for the standing posture. Many people, they take support from the ground. You shouldn't do that. Yes, if it's an elderly person can't get up and a person needs to take support, that person is excused. But for youngsters, we must get up. फिर बिस्मिल्लाह कहकर अल्हम्दु और सूरा पढ़ के दूसरी रकात इसी तरह पूरी करें. Then you read surah Fatiha, surah, and you complete the second rakat in this way. जब दूसरा सजदा कर चुके तो बाई चूतर पर बैठे. When the second sajda has been done, then a female, she should sit on the butt on the left hand side. So on the left hand side this way, and the leg comes out on the right hand side. Alright? I showed this yesterday as well. और अपने दोनों पाँव दाई तरफ निकाल देवे. Take out the feet on the right hand side. और दोनों हाथ अपने रानों पर रख ले. And keep both the hands on the thighs. और उंगलियां खूब मिला कर रखे. And females must keep all the fingers together. Here also when they're reading at-tahiyyat, the fingers must be kept together. Yesterday also I was noticing for the males, many people in the at-tahiyyat, their fingers are like this. It's together. As I mentioned, it should be kept normal. Only 2 places. In the sajda it must be together, and when in ruku it must be spread. Other than that, it must be normal like this. So even when reading at-tahiyyat, for us it must be normal, but for the females it must be kept together. फिर अत्तहियातु लिल्लाहि वस्सलावातु वत्तय्यिबात अस्सलामु अलैका अय्युहन नबिय्यु व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहु अस्सलामु अलैना व अला इबादिल्लाहि स्सालिहीन अशहदु अन ला इलाहा इल्लल्लाह व अशहदु अन्ना मुहम्मदन अब्दुहु व रसूलुहु. और जब कलिमा पर पहुंचे तो बीच की उंगली और अंगूठे से हल्का बनाकर ला इलाहा कहने के वक्त उंगली उठावे और इल्लल्लाह कहने के वक्त झुका दे. And when a person he reads La ilaha, then we will pick up the finger. And on illallah, a person must then drop the finger. Right? So Ashhadu Allah ilaha illallah. On illallah, a person will drop the finger. And here, when we read the at-tahiyyat, this is how a person should keep when he lifts the finger on Allah ilaha, right? Then we make a ring with the middle finger and the thumb, right? So it should be like this. Ilaha illallah. When you drop, you don't drop completely. You drop slightly. And when you pick up also, you don't pick up high. You pick up to the extent, say the Qibla is in this direction. So when I pick up, Ashhadu an la ilaha, that much. Illallah. The finger must face in the direction of Qibla. People pick up like this. You shouldn't pick up this way. Pick for pointing up. Point it to the Qibla and then just drop it slightly again. It mustn't come back and touch the leg, the thigh. It mustn't come back onto the thigh. So you just drop it slightly and you leave it there. मगर अब तो हल्का की हेयर को अखीर नमाज तक बाकी रखें. But now, when you have made the ring and you have dropped your finger slightly, this should remain right up till the end of the salah. And these two fingers, the ring finger and the baby finger, these you will fold them. You will fold these two fingers, and this is how your hand will remain right till the end of salah. If it's a second, after 2 rakats, you are sitting for tahiyyat, then up to the point you wake up maybe for the 3rd rakat. If it's a 2 rakat namaz and that's a final sitting posture, then right till the end you will keep your hand in this particular manner. फिर इससे ज्यादा और कुछ न पढ़े. अगर 4 रकात पढ़ना हो तो इससे ज्यादा और कुछ न पढ़े. If you're reading a 4 rakat namaz, besides the tashahhud, you don't read anything else. You only read up to tashahhud. And then a person, he says Allahu Akbar and stands up for the 3rd rakat. बल्कि फौरन Allahu Akbar कह के उठ खड़ी हो और 2 रकातें और पढ़ लेवे. Right? So you stand up and you read 2 more rakats. और फर्ज नमाज में पिछली 2 रकात में Alhamdu के साथ और कोई सूरत न मिलावे. If you're reading Farz namaz, right, and this is where a person is reading on his own, because behind the Imam, in the Hanafi mazhab, we don't read. We don't read anything behind the Imam. But a person is reading on his own, then a person recites Surah Fatiha, recites a surah. So a person that is on his own and is reading his Farz namaz, for whatever reason he missed his Jamaat and he's reading, so in the 3rd and 4th rakat, you only read Surah Fatiha. In the first 2 rakats, Surah Fatiha and a surah. And the 3rd and 4th rakat, only Surah Fatiha. Right? जब 4th रकात पर बैठे तो फिर अत्तहियात पढ़ के ये दुरूद शरीफ पढ़े. In the 4th rakat, after अत्तहियात, we read दुरूद शरीफ. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. This is the best durood sharif that you can ever get. That is why Allah Ta'ala has made it such that we read this in our salah. फिर ये दुआ पढ़े रब्बना आतिना फिद दुनिया हसना व फिल आखिरति हसना व क़िना अज़ाबन्नार. So you have a choice. After the durood sharif, you can either read रब्बना आतिना फिद दुनिया हसना व फिल आखिरति हसना व क़िना अज़ाबन्नार. That's one choice. The second choice, Allahumma फ़िरली वली वालिदैया वली जमीअल मुमिनीन वल मुमिनात वल मुस्लिमीन वल मुस्लिमात अल अहयाइ मिनहुम वल अमवात. That is the second choice. And the third choice is Allahumma inni zalamtu. This is a very good dua to read. Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi dhulman kathira wa innahu la yaghfiru dhunuba illa anta faghfirli maghfiratan min indika warhamni innaka antal ghafurur rahim. So a person can read anything. Either he can read Rabbana Atina, or he can read Allahumma firli wa li walidayya wa li jami'il mu'minina wal mu'minat, or Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi dhulman kathira. There a person in Allahumma inni zalamtu is actually making tawbah to Allah Ta'ala, that I have done a great wrong, that I could not fulfill the right of this namaz. So that's a very great dua. या कोई और दुआ पढ़े. And if a person wants, he can read any other dua also जो hadith या Quran में आई हो, which is directly from Quran and hadith. In other words, Arabic dua, it has to be from Quran and it must be from hadith. फिर अपने दाई तरफ सलाम फेरे. Then a person should make salam to his right hand side और कहे अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाह. मत से अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाह, और यही कहकर बाई तरफ सलाम फेरे. And then a person should say the same assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and a person should turn to the left side. और सलाम करते वक्त फरिश्ते पर सलाम करने की नीयत करें. ये नमाज पढ़ने का तरीका है. And when making salam to your right hand side and to your left hand side, a person should make niyat that I am making salam to the malaika that on my right hand side. So this is for ladies. So a lady is reading alone, so she only makes niyat of the malaika that are on the right and to the malaika that are on the left. But we in the masjid, we reading in Jamaat. So when we make salam to the right, we must make niyat of all the musallis that are on the right hand side. And to the imam if he's on our right. And when we make salam to the left, then we make niyat of all the musallis that are on the left. And if the imam is on our left, then we make niyat of the imam. And on both sides we make niyat of the angels as well. So we make niyat of three things. We make niyat of the imam if he's on that side, we make niyat of the musallis, and we make niyat of the malaika as well. Now when we will do this, when we make niyat of the malaika, there are two systems of Allah Ta'ala. The one system of Allah Ta'ala is the system of cause and effect, which we all know. Man is hungry and you eat food, stomach is going to get full. That is a system of cause and effect. Person is sick, he went to the doctor. Doctor prescribed medication, you took the medication. Now a person got better. So that is of cause and effect. That is just the worldly system. You got to open a shop and you sat down in your shop, you put goods on your shelf, customer came, bought money, you made profit, your expenses are fulfilled, your needs are fulfilled. That is a system of cause and effect. Above this system is a system of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And the system of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala overrides this system. In the system of Allah Ta'ala, a person can eat food, but there's indigestion, you get sick. Or that food is poison, you end up in hospital. Instead of getting full, what happened to you? You got sick. So your need was not fulfilled. The system of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is, when a person eats, it's actually Allah that is filling my stomach. When a person drank water, the water can't quench my thirst. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, through the means of that water, Allah Ta'ala is quenching my thirst. Those that are extreme diabetic, severe diabetic, they drink glasses and glasses of water. Their thirst is not quenched. So much of water they have to drink. So it's actually Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that is quenching my thirst. My shop can't bring me rosy. It cannot bring my risk and sustenance. My job cannot bring it. This is just an outside system. In actual fact, it's written from there how much you're going to get. And Allah Ta'ala put this system in place. Your rosy is hidden. Go there, search for it there. You just went there, made a little bit of effort. Allah gave you a rosy. In actual fact, the pipe from where it is coming, that is from above. When a person is going to make salam and you make niyat of the malaika, you won't worry about this worldly system. This worldly system, you won't even worry about it. Your eyes will be above on that system. Allah will open that system up for you. And your gaze will now be on the system of Allah Ta'ala in everything. And if our eyes on the system of Allah Ta'ala in all our matters, a person won't have problems in his life. He won't go through depression. He won't have any problem. Your geyser broke at home. So now you're calling the plumbers. One plumber came, he can't get it right. Second plumber came, he can't get it right. So where's the actual problem? The problem is from there. The blockage is from there. It's not from the plumber. Plumber is not getting stuck. If Allah Ta'ala opens the way for the plumber, he'll get your geyser right. But if Allah Ta'ala doesn't open the way from there for the plumber to get it right, all the plumbers in the world can come, they're not going to be able to sort it out. So at that time we need to open up there. But if we make salam and we make niyat of the malaika, Allah will open up this system for us, inshallah. Inshallah, now very quickly we'll try, because we feel it won't take us long. We'll try and do the postures of namaz, then how the namaz should be performed. Now the namaz, we find that among Sahaba, Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala, practical, is to show the students practically how to read namaz. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu was in Kufa. They asked him, how do you make wudu? Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala, there was a platform. In those days, you used to get a little platform. So he got onto the platform and he said, bring the water. And they brought the water practically. He made wudu, he showed them, this is how you make wudu. So we don't only do theory, we do the practicals as well. And I learned Salah from my seniors, and they learned from their seniors. There's a link going right up to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught Sahaba, they taught Tabi'in, they taught Tabi' Tabi'in, and this link has come all the way down right up to now. So now if I show you all the way of Salah, you all have learnt it from me, you all are in that link. And if you teach it to somebody tomorrow, that person will join that link. And this then continues, like in our hifz, in Quran Sharif, in Hadith Sharif, etc. There's a link going right up to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we'll just make a sub and then I'll explain it to you, inshallah.